everyone, this is your OG, Original Gamer, and this is another Godforge video. Today we are going to give you OG's top 5 champions per faction that we would like to see in the game. Okay, not ones we know about or anything like that. We're going to start with the Aaru faction. So these are not champs we've seen or they've been leaked at all or anything like that. They're just research and some community suggestions, okay? But I think it will provide some interesting ideas and hopefully generate some great discussion. So we're going to start with Aaru, and I will put out a video for each of the factions showing the top 5 champions your OG would like to see in the game based on your feedback. So without further ado, let's optimize. All right, so I got a message from Fudge Boss Elenika Mix-Up, okay, on the Fateless Discord server, and we had a great conversation about all the current known champions. We worked together between his list and mine to keep our Godforge Optimizer spreadsheet up to date as possible, and I want to thank him sincerely for taking the time and energy that he did. Going forward, he'll be working with us as a researcher and an extra set of eyes to keep our knowledge base as cutting edge as possible. So huge shout out to a member of the community stepping up really big. And as you see here, he says, you know, we were working on catching up on him. I said, hey, thanks for collaborating. Thanks so much. Would you like to hear some of my ideas for future champions? Of course, you know. So these 5 champions that I pick for each faction are coming from the lists that he provided. And you can see they're very well researched. There's a ton of different champions that he provides for each faction. You know, I said, wow, you know, you've done some great work here. So he wanted to see maybe a top 10. We're going to start with a top 5, but maybe we'll come around again for like another 5 if we get through them all, and that's something that people like. But this is what is originating this, and I figured I would give a huge shout out to Fudge Boss Elenika Mix-Up for his help and all the work he provided to keep all of our stuff as up to date as possible. Thank you again. All right, so we have 40 possible champs here on his list, okay, that he gave us, and we're going to look for the top 5. And then we're going to give you just a little bit as to why we think these 5 would fit well into Godforge with what we know of the narrative and story and lore. And just the kits. These could be very interesting kits. Okay. So the very first one we're going to choose off his list is Thoth. Thoth. Okay. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Thoth. God of intellect, wisdom, magic, and science, okay? Typically depicted as a man with the head of an ibis, which is that long-snouted bird that you see there in the picture. That's an ibis. Or a baboon. He's kind of seen as either one. An ibis is kind of like a crane, and then obviously a baboon is a monkey. So monkeys being one of the smartest animals in the animal kingdom, so that would make sense. He's seen as the divine scribe, who was considered possibly the inventor of writing and language. He plays a huge role in keeping the cosmic balance because he's a mediator amongst the gods. He is connected to judgment, medicine, so he could have healing in his kit, and he's also connected to the measurement of time, so maybe he has a turn meter effect. That could be cool. He's also connected to the moon and seen as kind of like a counter to Ra. He also assists in the weighing of the heart in the afterlife, so he's linked to Mot as well. Okay, so that's Thoth. We're going to put him out there as one of our top 5 gods we would like, or myths or legends we would like to see in Godforge in the Aaru faction. Okay, so that is Thoth. Next up, we have Nut. This is the goddess of the sky, the stars, the cosmos. She's also the goddess of like mothers, astronomy, and the universe. She was seen as a star-covered nude woman, so Fateless might have to make it a little cloudy so that it remains a game for all ages, but arching over the earth in this protective fashion, almost like I guess maybe a personified version of of our ozone layer, if you will. So she is the wife to Geb, mother of Osiris, Isis, and Set. So, I mean, she is the mother of those 3, and we've already seen Set, I believe, and Isis, and Osiris, I believe. I think we've seen them all. She is the goddess of the sky and the protector of the dead. So maybe she has a revive function in her kit. It's said in the mythology that every day she swallows the sun, or I'm sorry, every evening she swallows the sun, and then each morning she gives birth to it again. So clearly, Nut, a very powerful goddess in the Aaru or in the Egyptian mythos. Second one we're picking here that we would like to see in the game that we haven't. Okay, so after Nut, we are going to get to a really interesting one here, Mot. Mot is the goddess of truth, justice, and the cosmic way. I mean, well, actually, it's cosmic order, but I had to go with the truth, justice, and the cosmic way there just to felt very American. Sorry. She is kind of like a moral compass for the masses, and she's a huge aid in this balance. You see an ostrich feather on her head. She has wings, and basically she's kept Egypt safe through the chaos. That's what they describe her as. She represents the fundamental order of the universe, ensuring that the sun rises, the seasons change, and everything functions as it should. She was also either your best friend or your worst enemy after you died in Egypt, because she was the one who weighs your heart against a feather to determine your worthiness to enter the afterlife. So Mot looks super cool, definitely a legendary, but looking forward to maybe seeing her in Godforge. Okay, so we're over halfway now through. We are going to go to the next one, and I may not even come close to getting this name right. Noom, maybe? Kanum? I have no idea, honestly. I'm just reaching. This is a creator deity associated with like the water and specifically the Nile River. He's depicted as a ram-headed man with these horizontal undulating horns. Sort of like life emanates from him. That's like similar to the Nile River. So he is believed to have created humans from clay on a potter's wheel before giving them ka, or soul, and placing them in their mother's womb. He's a part of a triad with the goddesses Satis and Anukit and Esna. Not exactly sure what that would mean, but that could have some cool potentials if he does unique abilities when on the same team as any of them, or if they're in the game. So there's some elements to him that I think are really neat. He's clearly going to be a Lego, very powerful. He's called the Divine Artisan. That's sort of like what he's known as. Okay, so that is number 4 on our list. These are not necessarily in order of like top to bottom, because I would honestly say this last one is probably the one I would think is the coolest to add to the game. But what do you think? Which ones do you like? Do you think some are, nah, that doesn't need to be in the game, you should have had this one in there? That's what we're looking to do. Get people talking about some of the deities, legends, myths, and things that are still out there to be worked with. So the last one in our list is Ammoon. Okay, so Ammoon is considered a creator god. He helped to quell this rebellion at Hyksos, I guess. And here is the really cool piece of Ammoon. In the mythos, he merges with Ra to form Ammoon Ra, and that's like super powerful, right? So he's depicted as this man with a headdress topped by these 2 tall plumes, or as a ram-headed figure. The rams obviously was a huge part of Egyptian daily life. They saw their livestock as extraordinarily valuable, being in a very desert setting. And so a lot of their gods, most important gods, have ram or sheep type heads. It goes along with what was most important to them at that time. He's also associated with the sun, air, and creation. So those are pretty big ones, definitely probably a Lego. And his name, Ammoon, means the hidden one, and reflects his mysterious and all-encompassing nature. But just this idea of Ammoon being in the game and Ra being in the game, and the potential that they could come together and become Ammoon Ra, I mean, that's a cool thing to add to the game, right? That would be a neat thing to see. We have no idea at all if Fateless is even considering this. You know, they're doing their own research. This is separate of that. We are just having some fun speculation based on a really great list of potential champions that Fudge Boss Elenika Mix-Up brought to us on the Discord server. So a few things there. Obviously, Discord server is where some of the best conversations are had around the game, and where you can talk with CCs and other content creators that are specialists in lore or different areas. You can talk with fateless folks who are there in the Discord server all the time, and it's really where the latest and greatest information sits. So, you know, if you want to stay on top of the game and really optimize your game experience, you got to want to be on the Fateless Discord server. So you want to join that. Also, if you want to be a part of any of the testing, you also need to be a part of the Discord server as well. So, all right, we are going to wrap that up. So, folks, what do you think? Are these 5 worthy of being in Godforge? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And again, huge shout out to Fudge Boss, Elenika Mixup for your help. Make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the factions as your OG, with help from all you, dives deep into possible champions we could see in the game. That's all for now. Take care of yourself and remember, play smarter.